All right. Well, this is exciting news. I don't know if Blake is joining right now. Who are you, by the way? Tell the people who you are.
Who am I? Hi, my name is Blake. I've worked in entertainment market research for over 12 years, and I host a podcast called Hollywood Already Did It about movie reboots, remakes, sequels, and why we keep retelling these same stories over and over and over again.
Yes. Speaking of which, King of the Hill, a story that has been told for what? How many was it? 13 seasons?
13 seasons.
13 seasons. They're having a revival, which is coming out later on this year. And if you live in Texas, lucky for y'all are gonna get a sneak peek at the ATX Festival, which is happening, I believe, at the end of this month, which is exciting. They're gonna get a screener of the first episode of this revival, which it's not like what Mike Judge did with Beavis and Butthead, which essentially it was like they were like, I don't know, like frozen in time, and then they came back and they're still the same age. This one is like they're aged up. So we're gonna get an older Bobby Hill, an older Hank Hill, an older Luann.
We might not get an older Luann.
Hold on.
We don't know that yet.
What do you mean?
Well, Brittany Murphy passed away.
Okay.
As did Lucky's actor, her husband, in the later seasons. Sure. And I don't think they've officially said what they're doing in terms of recast or just having a throwaway line. I would love Luann back. I want Luann and the Manger Babies and Lucky and their child Lasagna. I want all of it.
Like Luann, I discovered a lot about myself, watching episodes with Luann in them, especially when she got baptized. You remember that episode?
Oh my God, that's one of the most that's a great episode of what that show does really well.
Yeah.
It takes something a little mundane, something that's supposed to be innocent and wonderful, and if you are religious, this great moment, and they make it so sexualized by no fault of anyone who's participating. And it's such a great way to dance around a lot of tough issues that the show does.
Yeah.
Where it is we're going to deal with this idea that Luann feels guilty about sleeping with a lot of people or sleeping with people at all. We're going to make her go on this discovery, only for everyone around her to be like, we got to.
All right, we're back at it. Okay, so do you remember where you left off?
I believe what I was saying was that we were in that episode where she's baptized.
Yeah.
It's doing where the show finds so much of its comedy is in the almost naivete of a lot of people until they're at the moment, and then kind of everyone coming to this realization that she's fine. We don't need to really go through this. It's all fine anyways. It's similar to what Buck Strickland does a lot of the time, where you think he's doing something nice and altruistic, and he's womanizing somebody.
Yeah.
It's a great episode for Luann. It's a great episode for Peggy. I think it kind of comes full circle for a lot of both of their characters and their arcs that they go through in the show, of having a moment where they're like, well, this thing that we're unfamiliar with might be wrong, whether it's how you're living or how you're presenting, and then getting to the moment that they think is right and having this oh, I was incorrect. We can actually just live our lives.
Yeah.
It's the core of the show is always that they come through and love each other. I think you see it a lot with Bobby, especially, of Hank not understanding him or not liking the comedy or not liking what he's seen. I mean, the phrase is always that boy ain't right.
Yeah, that boy. Yeah, you're right. That's the common phrase that we hear from Hank in reference to Bobby. And so I want to bring things back to the revival, because again, this boy is no longer going to be a boy in Bobby. He's going to be a man.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts on this. Let's start with this. Let's start on the revival first. What are your thoughts on this? Are you happy that this is happening? What do you think about this?
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm always excited. The original creators are coming back. Mike Judge is here. I love King of the Hill, and as much as I do get kind of tired of every show and every movie and every idea coming back around, I'm also a sucker for it whenever we do it. I am also I'm part of I have the nostalgia for it. I think it's a great lens to look at a lot of topics today the same way it was then. I think these are great characters. The show has a finale, but I think this is a great way for us to really get closure in some areas if we go that way, or it's a great way to just continue doing it. And they seem to be doing it right. And Hulu seems to have a lot of care for these IPs. We saw them kind of do this with Futurama a few years ago for, like the 10,000th time that show's come back.
Exactly, yeah.
And that did very well. It was reviewed well. The ratings were high for it. So I think they're going to approach it with care. Mike Judge is going to approach it with care. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, of course he is. I mean, it's his baby. Like one of the brilliant things that I think he's doing is the fact that he's treating this as if you would treat like a sitcom. With like where you bring the actual actors back, like with when they brought back Roseanne, like they brought back everyone. Obviously, they're aged up because it's been several years since the original series ran. So I love because like. That's one of the things, like with animation, you have the freedom of just, no, they're the same age. Maybe they're just brought in modern times. You could do that, which is what he did with Beavis and Butthead. But with King of the Hill, he decided, he made that decision. They're not frozen in time. They're just being aged up. So we're going to see like all the technology. We're going to see how they are, how they adapt to the technology. Like with the poster, you saw the poster, right? Like, we see them embracing, looks like VR. We see Dale wearing like a VR headset. We see Uber Eats. We see that weird, we see drones in the sky. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see them adapt to modern times. And also like how Boomhauer, I'm kind of curious about him specifically because Boomhauer, he was a ladies' man back in the day, and this was before I think like dating apps really caught on.
Right.
And like the back pages, like people like, getting like escorts and whatnot. It'll be kind of interesting to see if they kind of like adapt that because he's got to remain the same, right? They're not going to change his character too much.
No, I think he was the Jay-Z of the group. He'll be forever macking. I think that's the thing. I'm also, I think of all four of them, the most curious about Boomhauer because you can go in seemingly infinite directions with him. Because I think the really easy one to do is to just do the 180 and be like, he met someone, he's settled down, and this is his life now. I think it's a lot more fun if he is like involved in the apps. He seems to be the one from that poster living in the tablet. Yeah. And I also think that kind of gives us a great chance for him to be the one that kind of lives the most on social media. And since social media is so insane now, the way he talks could work just in any conversation, whenever they're doing, just be like, dang, oh man, they're trying to make milk from cockroaches. What can I tell you? And them just be like, yep. Like, it's the best way to kind of do that, almost fake news, all the craziness, and have the characters go past it. Because I think there's a lot of things in the show that would be very easy to do. It's very easy to just have everyone be like so crazy into all the insane things going on. If Dale's some conspiracy theorist or all these other things, and I think putting that in a tablet in Boomhauer's hands is the best way to be like, we're going to address some of these things and we're just going to have it there.
Yeah.
I also like what you said about them not being like unthawed. Like it's not Captain America showing up in 2025.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to not see them be reactive to the technology as if it's day one of it, and to be kind of having it be lived in. Because I think the poster, it shows you so many things. You see the drone with the delivery, you see the Megalo Eats cart, you see Dale with the VR and the vape, and Boomhauer with the tablet. And Hank, of course, looks like he doesn't want to be there at all. Which is,
why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why are we here again? Blah.
Right. And it's like, but it would be more of how we are. We're so used to it.
Yeah.
So I hope we have that approach, and it isn't just like Hank wakes up and it's 2025. Because I think that would be the most just like, this is all wrong. And it's like, well, this is kind of life now.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the comedy came from before, of it was just like, this is just life. Like you look at the Y2K episode, and everyone kind of reacting and living in that, and then coming to terms with where that technology is, or Hank gets addicted to that Grand Theft Auto type propane game for a while. So we've seen him react to it when it's brand new. To kind of come into their lives is going to be interesting. And I think that's also, one thing that's tough with reboots and remakes in general is who is the audience's entry point to this world.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of always an outsider for you to have things explained to you and it be shown. And King of the Hill was always good at kind of picking, it was almost always kind of Hank. We were sort of seeing everything through his viewpoint and his lens, and we were coming into Dale's crazy world or the junior high's craziness or Khan moving in or his dad. Yeah. So I wonder if that'll still kind of be our point of view or if there's going to be a new character in the neighborhood. I think
of course, they're going to introduce some new characters for sure. But I guess I'm more so curious to see how they kind of like adapt, like not necessarily new characters, but I guess it would be new to the world of King of the Hill, and that's this president that we have. You know, I'm kind of curious to see what type of political leanings Hank, because they never really leaned on any like politics.
I mean, he votes for George W. Bush.
Yeah. He had like a very weak
limp handshake.
His handshake was limp. Yeah. And that pretty much just let him know everything that he needed to know about that particular president at the time. But yeah, they never really like leaned into like the politics that we were dealing with at the time. So I guess I'm kind of curious to know how they're gonna deal with that, you know, and how they're gonna handle that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge the show's gonna have.
Yeah.
Because again, it would be very easy to just be like, Dale's a MAGA guy. He's got his red hat and he's all in, and everyone else thinks this. And I kind of hope we don't go like super deep into it. I want it to be, it has to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is the reality of it. Mm-hmm. It always was a show that reflected our time, so it has to be there.
And you mentioned like new characters on the block. I think that might be that would be a great way for them not to kind of like taint the legacy of a pre-existing character by just having like some MAGA dude, some new character come onto the block, and that's like, you know, a huge Trump supporter, probably screaming at Khan, get out of here, man. We built the wall for you to. It's like, what do you mean? I live here now. I'm an American citizen. Is that should I not be doing that?
I don't mind it, but you know, it's your show.
Khan exists though.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We have to. Yeah.
Are they not? So are they? You think they're gonna get rid? I guess. Moving to another topic, do you think they're gonna bring back Khan? Because I mean,
I think you have to. I think he's a staple. I think he's another lens that we see everything through. And I think part of what made Khan great was he brought in both issues of race that we tackled in the show. One of the best ones is when, you know, Ted Supernusapone calls him a banana, and he like redoes all of his life to be like really stereotypical, and that's a great episode dealing with another like heavy topic. But he also brings in like this class warfare to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about like where he comes from in Laos and like how he gets there, and where he isn't allowed, which is where the Supernusapons are in this beautiful country river resort, Nine Rivers Country Club. And so I think you still need him there. And I think you're right. I think bringing in a new crazy political like character would be a good juxtaposition for that. I think also that show always kind of dealt with Hank and the neighborhood's sense of pride for America, for Arlen, for all these things, for Texas, to kind of have somebody do it in a way that Hank doesn't like. Like, it would be very interesting to see him at first be like, I love this guy. He loves America. He loves a traditional home. He loves values. And then he goes over there and is like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, I mean, maybe not crazy might not be the way is the right word. I don't care. It's the right word. I think that would be a fun way of getting into that, especially because we see him also react that way to liberal sides throughout the show. Like, there's so many great jokes where he's like, "Oh, we're visiting Arizona, as far west as we can get without California." Like we have a lot of those where he's uncomfortable in the co-op store. We see him kind of react to a lot of those things too. So we can assume their political leanings.
Yeah.
I think it would be then fun to have that challenge his inherent values.
Yeah.
Because I think what makes Hank work is whatever his political leanings are, his values always kind of end up being family, friendship, his home, and caring about people.
Yeah.
He always kind of comes back to like whatever it is, we have to do this. We have to do right by everybody.
Yeah.
So it would be fun to bring in a character that at first he really likes and then is like, oh no.
Yeah, you're off the beaten path. I want to kind of shift things back to Khan, because I think this brings up a very important topic that we probably should cover, because we've seen this happen in other animated series like The Simpsons, where they had to retire what's his name?
Apu.
Apu. They had to retire Apu because he was voiced by a white man, and the same kind of applies for Khan, who's voiced by Toby Huss, who is a white man. I don't think he has any sort of ties to Laos. Maybe he's visited on vacation, but that's the extent of it.
Right.
So yeah, we got to talk about like the sensitivities of like certain individuals playing, like even like if you look at like Family Guy, like, you know, we had Cleveland was replaced with one of my friends, Azariz Arif, who's now the voice of Cleveland. He's a black man.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about those sensitivities, because so what is the reality of Khan actually returning, being that a white man originally voiced him?
I mean, I think you just recast him.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think that's what's going to happen? Or do you think they might just not, maybe he moved away from the block?
Well, I know that they've confirmed men's returning. It would be really strange to me if we just got rid of, like, at that point it would be like Lucky, Luann, Khan from either passing away or these sensitivities.
Yeah.
Dale's also recorded some episodes and passed away, which is very unfortunate. I don't want to wipe like 5 characters away like that.
But Thanos,
Right.
Thanos just came in and snapped.
I think you recast him. I think we're very used to that now. I think you brought up all the examples of Family Guy, The Simpsons, Big Mouth did it. We've now seen that enough where it's okay. And I think it is important for that representation. I think all the jobs, all of these things that we're talking about, and I think the character is just so good, like that they can find an actor to do it well, and that character just brings so much great moments to the show.
Yeah.
He's such a good like antagonist to everybody, but it also kind of has that same thing where he always comes around to them. You have a lot of episodes where he's like, Hank's my only friend. I do love you guys. This all works. The last episode that aired is dealing with his manic depression of those like 4 that came out then, which is also great. We talked a lot about the class structure and Nine Rivers Country Club, and he just also comes with so many other characters that we want to see. I want to see Min. I need to see Connie, because she got cast on Futurama and just kind of vanishes from the show for so long that I'm like, well, we have to bring her back.
Yeah, but then Toby Huss is out of a job. What do we do with Toby Huss? Everyone loves Toby Huss.
He'll get royalties from the other episodes, I'm sure. I think we'll find Toby. Could he do Dale now?
That's not how this works. What do you mean?
I mean, there's
I like how you just assume it's so easy to do a Dale voice.
I don't assume.
Like I can do Boomhauer, I can do Hank, I can do what's that fat? Hey, he talks like this. What's that guy? The fat guy who wears the tank tops.
Bill.
That's his name. Yeah. Bill. I can do Bobby. You know, like Dale is the one. He's been the outlier. I just can't seem to nail his voice.
It's a tough one.
You know,
it's a tough one. You gotta smoke a lot of cigarettes to get that voice down. That was rude.
How dare you? Isn't that what he actually did?
I think so. That's as soon as I said
he
that.
He died like in like a trailer, right? Like the guy.
I don't know.
Yes, he had. It was. If you read about it, it's very. Hey Siri, how did the voice actor for Dale die? Johnny Hardwick was the voice of Dale. Yes, okay. TMZ says a welfare check was done at Hardwick's home, and in Texas, and was pronounced dead at the scene. Officials say no foul play was suspected. So yeah, they did a welfare check. So he was at home.
Wow.
Just like, I mean, I don't want to say chilling. I don't know what he was doing, but he just died at home.
Oh,
and
that's so
people hadn't
sad.
heard from him for several days. And they're like, how's that man doing? Hey, officers, there's like a weird smell coming, next door. I mean, like, it's so sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It's very sad. I don't mean to kind of like lighten the tone of it.
No, I think that's how we deal with hard topics.
I mean, dude, it's just, I mean, when that news broke, I mean, like, it was shocking. And then like reading how it all played out, it's like, wow, like he was at home, like he was dead for several days. And it's like he went out like how you would expect Dale would probably go out, without his family. His son is an adult now who's not really his son. And that's another thing that I kind of want to talk about too. Do we think Dale will finally find out the truth in the revival?
My prediction is that Dale won't and Joseph will. Mm-hmm. I think you'll have an episode where Joseph confronts his mom and finds out, and kind of almost does the same beats that like they do with Peggy when she finds out, where she's like, we have to tell him, he has to know, and then she gets to the like, no, this is Dale's son. There's no point in ruining everything else.
I think what might happen is, I think like Mike Judge, he's a brilliant writer and director. I think what he might do is we kind of find out that Dale knew all along that he wasn't his son. Like, he's not dumb. Like, he could clearly see, like, the way he looks.
Yeah.
Like, clearly he does not look like me, but I love your mom and she birthed you. So therefore you are my son. I've just been going along with it. Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to shake up my home, because he's a conspiracy theorist. He had like whiteboards and everything. So there's no way he could. This is the biggest conspiracy ever. It's like, my son don't look like me. Like, he looks
it's the best joke in the show.
Yeah.
Is that the guy who trusts nothing trusts his wife so implicitly, and his friends. Yeah. Like there's that great moment in one of the episodes where Nancy's like, I don't know why you're trying so hard to trick Dale, Hank. It's not hard if you're someone he loves. Like, it's so like sad, but there is a fan theory that I've seen a couple times that Dale does know, and it's why he's such a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. It's like it's broken him. And so he's just trying to figure out why everything else in the world doesn't make sense. It would be really sad, I think, to do it now that he's like older. Yeah. Like it's harder almost now with Joseph. Like, he'd be 21, 22 in the show, I think. So they'd be, in their 60s or so. Yeah. It would be almost like depressing. And I think that's another weird balancing act with the show, because almost every idea that I see or think about, I'm like, oh, but that would be so sad. Yeah. Like, even doing like the president, the Trump stuff, all that, I'm like, God, that would be like stressful. I know if we did, that would be sad. And if we do stuff with Hank and Bob, well, that would be sad. And I kind of want that, but I do want some wins. Like, I want Bill to get some wins in the show.
Of course.
That's one of my big, I'm like, please, can we just have like one, for at least one episode, then take it all away from him. That would be hilarious. I don't mind that. I just want to see him win, because he's just sitting there next to this delivery truck on that poster with food in his hands, and you're just like, oh no.
He's the saddest character in that series. Yeah. Because he's got nobody in his life, It's gonna be interesting to see how they how they play his character out. Because, I think he just sounds so sad all the time. I know. And it is interesting because he juxtaposes Dale so well. Yeah. Because Dale is so happy and everything in his life is a lie. Not everything, but most of it. And Bill is so sad and everything in his life is like honest and open. Mm-hmm. Like, he is the most, here's what's going on, to the point where like he stands in the alley and Hank's like, don't do this, Bill. So I hope that those
idiosyncrasies that Mike Judge is so good at stay, where it's like at the heart of why this character works is the weird flip of like his life is the saddest and it is also the most like true. Like we know so little about Boomhauer until the very end of the show where he's a Texas Ranger who like sleeps around and can speak all these wonderful languages. And then, Hank is just always going through trials and tribulations. Yeah. And Bill has the most like steady career. His house is, everything's objectively okay, except that he's just so sad and lonely.
Yeah.
And everyone around him is like in a constant state of like stress. So it would be kind of fun for him to get that. I don't know how he would do it. He's got to meet somebody else.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll just be happy with it. He'll have some weird like, nah, I'm fine. I've been doing this for so long now.
No, there's gonna be some episodes that they just pull at the heartstrings. I'm sure with his character alone. All right, so I want us to talk about the boy who was never right. Of course, let's talk about this. Of course, we're talking about Bobby Hill.
Yeah.
The prodigal son. Kind of curious how he's gonna play out now that he's gonna be an adult. Also, do you think they're gonna bring back? I believe they are bringing back the same actress who voiced him.
Yeah, because I think she posted stuff and then had to take it down.
Yeah.
Like there was a quick like leak.
Yeah, I think the leak that I saw, or at least the image that I saw of Bobby, was that he's like a chef.
Yeah, so I saw, because I did a little bit of research right before we started. Mm-hmm. There's a Screen Rant article, and I think the voice actress has talked about he'll be 21 and a chef in Texas. Mm-hmm. And his passion for food has become this, and I think that's very interesting, because I think when a lot of us thought of Bobby growing up, it was like the comedy and the acting and the pursuit. So I wonder, again, very depressing if they want to. I was like, so is he gonna have like gone to LA or New York and come back and been like, never mind? Yeah. Is that gonna be the thing? Or is it still gonna be there? And he's like performing improv in some like Texas theaters.
Yeah.
That'll be fun too. It is a nice continuation because at the finale of the show, where he starts grilling and he's grilling with his dad at the end and he's on the team, that is a nice like, we found the thing that bring him and his dad together the most, and continuing that works. I wonder if that'll play into this. If it'll be like, well, I stuck around and I did this. This is what me and my dad like love. Yeah. And if there will be moments of like, yeah, but you love this. Mm-hmm. That would be a great way to bring Connie back, to have a like, if she came back from wherever she is and is like, well, you're a chef. And he's like, well, yeah, this is like what me and my dad do. And she was like, yeah, but you're a comedian. Like, go try it.
So Bobby is probably going to be a chef, but I honestly hope that we do see him, pursuing his comedic career. I want to see What Are You Talking About on tour, and that's like the only thing that he says. It's just, what are you talking about? Huh? Yeah, he's sold out in like wherever in New York or something. Although obviously that would be kind of lame. And also the reality of the thing is he wasn't really that funny.
I mean, I think that's another thing that they could deal with would be the the big fish in a small pond of it. Which would be very interesting. It would be kind of a bummer because we see Bobby in so many things not succeed, like sports and all these other areas, and it kind of always comes back to his comedy. And like even Hank in the baseball episode when he goes to that other league, and they're all like, Hank's a bad father, and it turns out that this coach is just like overly nice to everybody and they're not great. And he's like, well, he's like, I was never good at baseball, Dad. And he's like, that's right, but you're good at comedy. And you don't, it's hard to have conversations like that with anyone of like, you're not good at this thing, but you're good at this thing. So that would be sad. I think it's also sad if you like live in LA or New York and you're like, oh no, he's not gonna make it. We're all trying so hard.
It's funny though that you think that Bobby has the skills to get out of Arlen. I mean, the reality of the like the reason why Hank said that boy ain't right is because he had like these grandiose ideas. He had like, I mean, he had clouds on his walls, you know. He had his head was literally in the sky. It was like he had his head in the clouds, you know, which is why he painted his room with clouds. But the reality of the situation is you're not like, we love you, Bobby. Like we were all rooting for him. But the reality of the situation is he's not as talented as he thinks he is. And I feel like if you kind of look at that introspectively, you might internalize that yourself and be like, well, maybe I'm not as talented as I think I am, you know?
Yeah.
But the reality, that's pretty much what, like, if you look at the reality of Bobby, he's just a hometown kid. Like, he's just like, he probably is going to just like, he probably did pursue his dreams. Locally, I don't think he actually made it out to LA. I think locally he might have pursued it, but then he realized that he has a knack for food, for cooking. And that's how he kind of and he found a new passion. I think it's like one of the things that we deal with in society as adults. It's like we have a dream to do this one thing, but we wind up doing this other thing. So you just start a new dream. It's like, maybe this one is not going to come true.
Right.
Let me dream of something else. Like, I mean, I thought, I did improv back in Chicago. I had grandiose ideas of being on SNL. I was like, oh man, if I don't make it on SNL, there's Mad TV.
I think you can do a great SNL tape.
Well, I mean,
you've got your con voice.
I am never doing that again.
Lord Michaels will love it.
It's funny just because, like, you know, growing up watching these shows, you never really think about the sensitivities of those things.
No.
Like even when I was just doing it, obviously I mean no harm, but then when you think about it, it's like, oh, there's a reason why. Like these like characters like a poo don't exist anymore, you know, because it's like the cultural sensitivities today that weren't in place back in like the 90s and the early 2000s. They just weren't there. But like as we evolve as a society, it's like, no, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
That, you know, we have a guy doing that voice who did it for as long as he did.
I know.
And without problem, you know. And honestly, it probably could have gone on longer, but I think there was a documentary, right? Wasn't there a documentary on it? Like somebody did something to kind of
for a poo. There's that documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was one with Khan.
No, not with a poo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, like they ended, you know, once that show was done, no one's gonna like, you know, go back in time and like, you were fucked up, Mike, for doing this.
Right.
You know, it's like, no. Well, if you bring it back, which is what's happening, you gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
Either Toby is gonna be out of a job, you know. I keep saying his name as if like everyone knows who
I like
Toby.
that you also keep being like, he's gonna lose his job, Blake. After I was like, we should recast for sensitivity. You're like, and he's gonna be out of work. How do you feel about that? And I'm like, he's gonna make royalty checks, man.
Well, what was Toby? Okay, let's look up Toby Huss. I'm curious what he's been up to
I'm
since.
sure he's fine.
You don't know that.
I don't know that.
Hold on, okay. I'm gonna look at his Wikipedia
Let's
right
do
now.
it.
All right. Toby Huss.
You want him to stay as Khan.
I just want him to still have a job. All right, Beavis and Butthead, Do America. Well, that was 96. Hold on, let's speed things up.
At least find his career at King of the Hill.
He was in Maxine.
There you go.
He's gonna be in Weapons.
Great.
He's in a movie called Nutcrackers.
Great.
Never seen it. Don't know anything about it. Let's see. Those are movies. So let's check out his.
So go see
shows.
Weapons this fall.
Yeah.
To support him.
Star Trek Lower Decks. Okay.
There you
All right. Fatal Attraction. What? In 2023. What was that? That's a series. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. He's okay. Okay. He's got some work. He's got some work. Okay.
So he's fine.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay. I just wanted to make sure Toby the Huss was gonna be safe.
I think it sounds like he'll be fine.
Yeah. I think everyone watching it, they're like, who the fuck is Toby Huss?
I mean, he's a working actor.
Yes,
he's
but
busy.
you know, it's not a name that you hear thrown around.
No, I mean, he's not
often,
famous. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know, y'all that are here watching this, you're clearly a King of the Hill aficionado, so you should know who Toby Huss is. All right. If you don't, Well,
Now you do.
yeah, now you do. And also you can go on Wikipedia to find out. But I'm excited for the series.
Oh, yeah.
I think, well, you clearly are. You recently binged the entire series.
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of started, you know, it's funny, I often forget how much I watched like any show when I was growing up. And I would get home from junior high, probably all the way through like high school. And around like, I think 5 in Chicago was when they were just like Simpsons, King of the Hill, Simpsons, Seinfeld, and then like whatever else. And that was and that 70s show, I think, it doesn't matter. Those were the reruns. It was every day. And then I bought the DVDs of like seasons 1 through 3. And so when I was going back on Hulu this time, I like started it and was like, I've watched this in so long. I still know all these lines. So I need to go ahead a few seasons to where it's a little bit newer.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me. It's like that in The Simpsons where I'm like, oh, I still know this way too well.
Yeah.
I could have learned the quadratic formula or my taxes. But instead my brain was like, I don't know you, that's my purse.
Yeah.
That's gonna be more relevant.
100%. Yes. It's gonna be interesting to see how that kind of evolves too. Well, Blake, I want to thank you, dude, for talking about King of the Hill, man.
Of
I mean, I
course.
can talk about this for days on end.
Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't get into the Peggy or John Redcorn where they're gonna be at.
Like, are her feet gonna shrink? Like, is she gonna get foot surgery,
No,
Peggy?
but that is another one where I'm like, God, that could be really sad. If it's like she knows she's not great at Spanish now. Like,
She was never good at Spanish.
that's what I mean. It's like you could
You
ruin her
kidding me?
world.
But again, that's another thing. It's like the delusions that that these individuals
That
have.
whole show is built on everyone kind of being a little delusional about some aspect of their life.
Yeah, except for Hank.
Except for Hank and like oddly
was
Bill.
grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hank's the center point who like knows what's going on, and Bill is just so open because he has no other option
Yeah.
but to be just purely honest. Everyone else has a delusion.
Yeah. Well, we're here for the delusions, of course. Definitely looking forward to King of the Hill, the revival this year.
That's right. That's right.
It's so crazy that this is actually going to be happening, man.
Originally, they wanted to try to do it in 2017. They pitched it.
I'm glad they did.
Or I think Fox wanted to develop it. I don't think they pitched it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it didn't happen in
No, it
2017.
would not have
I feel like that
worked.
was that would have been way
Way
too
too
soon.
soon.
Also, we didn't need it
Yeah.
then. I mean, we honestly don't need it now, but the nostalgia
There's a lot more
vibes
cultural
and
relevance
yeah, exactly.
to now. Like using those characters for a lot of stuff happening is a lot more, I think, meaningful than it would have been in 2017.
Yeah. And I think Mike Judge has proven himself a known quantity
Time and time again.
with Beavis and Butthead, that revival. So it'll be interesting to see, what he's cooking up with this.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yes.